How's everybody feeling? I walked in and I felt some major energy. So I'm like, yo, this is going to be tough. I got to get this team fired up again. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see people, building their business, people changing their lives, taking things seriously, taking it to the next level. In today's world, we don't see that enough, right? We see a lot of sheep out there. We don't see enough lions. And I see lions in this room. Truly, I see lions. I keep hearing the stories about lions. I did some research. I'm super excited about what you guys are doing. I'm super excited to share my story to hopefully inspire and motivate you a little bit more, okay? I do want to give a shout out to all the Michiganders out there, though. Go Blue! Go Blue! They're going to win tonight. So, like the video showed, I've been a part of building 3 companies. I've been blessed, right? I believe in God. I've got a great wife. I've got great kids, and I surround myself with great people. But I grew up in a family that didn't graduate high school, that my mom married my dad when she was 16. He was 18. I was born when she was 18 and he was 20. And it wasn't the perfect household. There was some abuse. There were some things going on. It was tough. And I'm not making excuses because a lot of people have harder lives than I do. But I like to set the platform to understand my mindset of how things had to change. And so my dad was a blue collar guy that worked for AT&T, and they were closing the plant down in Arizona. And that's where I was born. And so I was 14 years old. I had a little brother and a little sister, and my dad's friend owned a video store, right? And they were doing good. This is when video stores were cool. So from some of the young folks out there was like Blockbuster, all these things. That was cool. You go on Tuesday, get movies. That was the deal. So I remember my dad telling my mom that they're closing the plant. He's got to transfer to North Carolina, or his friend Mike can open up a sub shop for him and a bakery for my mom. Now think, my dad was blue collar working in a Corning plant, building fiber that's under the ground for our internet today. And my mom was a cake decorator at a bakery. And at night, my dad would deliver papers. I would help him and then still go to school, right? We did what we had to do. Well, I was eavesdropping. I heard that story. And I heard him telling my mom we might have to move. And he said, but Mike's given us this opportunity. And they talked about how nice it would be to do that. And then my dad said, I don't think we should. I have 2 kids that have asthma. That'd be my brother and sister. I have about 12 years left at AT&T. I think we should just take the safe route and move. And that's what we did. There's nothing wrong with that. Fast forward, are we able to go to the next page on the thing? Fast forward to when we moved to North Carolina, we moved into a trailer park. Now, not that it matters. I grew up in a trailer park. I can say that, it's okay. Trailer trash is what I was called. I didn't know any better. I was a freshman in high school. I would go to school and people would be like, where do you live? And I'd be like, Southbrook. They're like, oh, the trailer park. I'm like, yeah. Like, oh, it was a feeling that people at high school would give me. And that's not really good when you can't control who you are, what you look like, how much money your family has. Everyone can relate to that somehow, some way, right? That was the feeling I was getting at 14 years old in high school. And, I would wear fake Tommy Hilfigers. For those that remember Tommy Hilfiger, I would get them fake ones. They'd be like $15 at the flea market, right? People would question me like, is that a fake Tommy? No, they'd look at the tag. I was getting bullied, as a freshman because I didn't have money. Fast forward, when I got my first car, I spent like $300 on it. The insulation was falling out. It was an 85 Dodge Lancer. It was like 5 colors, had hubcaps. I would scrub the hubcaps, right, with a toothbrush. I put a system in that was worth more than the car. I think some people have done that before. So but I had this, I hated the feeling that I felt limited. I felt capped, that I couldn't do anything about my situation. I know we've all felt that before, right? It's like, I'm stuck in this, where I live, how much money my family has, and it's wrong, and it's not right. And, fast forward, I've been married 20 years and I have 4 beautiful kids and 2 grandkids, right? So all about family. My wife's in the back. She keeps me in line. But we met in high school when I was 15 and she was 14. Okay. And, my first chapter of my book is Make Your Own Map. And so I'm building that up for you, what I just told you. But when I met Liz, I knew the first time I kissed her in the parking lot, I said, I'm going to marry that girl. My buddy's like, whatever, dude. I'm like, no, really, like there's some kind of connection there. And there was, and there is. But we did the wrong thing. I got her pregnant. She was 17 years old. No, she was 16 when she got pregnant. I was 17. And her mom wanted her to have an abortion, would call me trailer trash, tell me I can move my trailer by sticking my feet out the window. I used to be like, really? Can we do that? Is that possible? But it didn't happen, but I thought maybe it was something we can do. And would judge me because of where I live. Now, we all that are parents, we get it. We want the best for our kids. As an adult, I understand some of the things that she felt because I've got 3 daughters, right? And 1 son. I get it. But she also told her she wasn't allowed to have the kid. And that if she had the kid, that she wasn't allowed to live there. And that she would call social services and make her give our kid up for adoption. So we were kids getting ready to have a kid. Younger than my parents were. I dropped out of high school. You know, I had good grades. There was no reason to go finish traditional high school. She dropped out. She was pregnant. She went and got her GED. We would live together for a little bit. And then she would talk to her mom and her mom would be like, you're going to give this baby up for adoption or you're going to have an abortion, but you're not having this kid. And then so when she would talk to her mom and go to her mom's house, I'd get upset and I'd be like, well, we're done. You can't do that. Then her and her mom would have issues and she'd come back to my house and her mom put her in a maternity home. And I had to break her out. Here I am, 17 years old, driving up to maternity home, letting her jump out of the window pregnant, come out of the thing, get in the car with me and my buddy and drive back and she'd stay with me. Now remember, when you're 17 and 16, you don't know what you're doing. But we knew that we loved each other and we knew that we believe in life, right? We believe in God gave us something that we had to have. It was our baby. It was our choice. Fast forward to October 27th, 1998, my daughter was born. Me and Liz weren't together. We were in one of those modes where we were fighting again, right? Her mom had control of her again, was bringing families to come meet with her to give our daughter up for adoption. She went to the hospital. She was getting induced. I worked at a company called First Union, which was a bank. I was in the call center rep. I used to do sales over the phone. I remember taking the day off, going to get a Polaroid camera, picking up my buddy Benji, and driving to the hospital so I can see my daughter born. I remember pulling up and seeing her mom and her sister and her mom's boyfriend outside. When I pulled up, they ran back into the hospital. I said, okay, this is here. This is where it's going to happen. You know, she's having the baby here, obviously, so it's confirmed. So me and Benji walk into the hospital. When we did, I walk in, I've got my Polaroid camera. I asked the lady at the desk, hey, I'm here to see Elizabeth Stalvey. Said, there's no Elizabeth Stalvey here. I said, I just saw her mom. And sister, like, she's having my daughter, she's here. She said, sir, she's under an alias name and her family doesn't want any guests. I said, okay, well, what am I supposed to do? I'm here to see my daughter born. She said, well, this is back when you can actually go to the nurseries and look at the kids. You can't do that now, but back then you could. She said, you can go up there and you can go and look at the kids and take pictures, but there won't be names on the kids. So that's what I did. I went up there. I took pictures of 9 kids, 9 girls, not knowing which one was mine. I started crying. I was with my buddy. I was like, what am I going to do? Like, this is crazy. Her mom that day was telling her, and the night before, she was going to call social services. She wasn't going to keep the kid. That's what she said. So I had all this fear. Just turned 18. I'm nervous. I have this daughter being born. I can't see her be born. I don't know what's going on. They're under an alias name. Her mom is controlling our life. And so something clicked in my head. Everything that kind of built up, right? Living in a trailer, being made fun of. People bullying me because of my situation. My future mother-in-law, right? Controlling if I can see my kid born or if we get to keep our kid. And a switch clicked. It was a defining moment for me to say, enough's enough. And so that day, two things happened. 2 people's lives changed. My daughter was born. And I decided that I was going to make my own map, and nobody, not her, not the people at school, not the people that hated me, not family members, not friends, not anybody would control what I was going to do with my life. That it was my map to make, and that I was going to be destined to do whatever I wanted to do. Nobody else can control that. So I went with my little beat up car and got a loan for $1,000 and got an attorney and was trying to get rights to my child, right? Get joint custody. Story takes a little twist. When Liz was there, her mom left because she said, I'm not giving this baby up. She had the baby by herself. Her grandma came. She moved in with her grandma. I got to see my daughter when she was 6 days old for the first time. Okay. So people are like, oh, your mother-in-law's a monster. Yeah, she was a monster. Story gets better. So fast forward, here I am. I've got a child. Me and my wife go and get married at a justice of peace when our daughter's 2. We kept playing house. Let's move in together. Let's not move in together. All of these things. But that day when my daughter was born, that transformed me to make my own map. And I knew her life came into existence, that I had to do better. So I went and I was grinding to give her a life I didn't have. I was working my butt off. I was doing sales, commission only jobs, everything I could do to make sure that she had a better life than I had. And I know a lot of you guys can relate to that feeling, right? You grow up a certain way and then you want to be able to provide more for who you love and your family than what you had. So that was my first chapter, is make your own map. I decided to do that. And I remembered that story because in 2019, when I won the Entrepreneur of the Year award, I was shocked I won. That's probably the biggest award I feel I've won. And I was one of the first people to not go to college or finish high school to win the award. It's a prestigious award. But I remember being there with my wife in 2019, and I had the, how the heck did I get here moment? And it reminded me of the hospital and how things clicked. So when I wrote a book, I was like, I got to talk about that, about making your own map. Now that's on the personal standpoint. In business, people told me I built 3 companies from the ground up, from my master bedroom with a tile board that was $25 and a Sharpie marker, knocking doors, you know, hey, you want to get an alarm system? We put a sign in your yard. It's $1 a day, whatever I had to do. Learn it, train it, believe in it, be all in, passion, love. I heard everyone talking about that. You got to be all in what you're doing. And that's what I did. And I built 3 companies from the ground up. But I had to make my own map. Nobody gave me anything. The people in this room weren't given anything. You're earning everything, right? And that is the life that we have when we make our own map, is we pick how we want to do it. We pick how good we're going to be. We're going to be platinum. We're going to be ruby. We're not going to be good. You pick that choice. You are destined for what you want. I've got over 450 sales reps at POWERHOME Solar. I still today, with 2,400 employees, do our sales meeting to get them inspired and motivated because it's my favorite thing to do. But I'm a big believer in sales, that your number is like golf. Everybody's got the same excuses. We all have the same struggles. I've got kids. I don't have time. It's hard to network. It's hard to get people to work with me. It's hard to get people to work on my team. It's hard to do all of that. It's just noise. Everybody has that. So the ones at the top, that just means they're better. That's all it means. It means they worked harder. It means they listened. It means they trained. It means they paid attention. It means that they do the little things that matter every single day when they're making their map to take it to the next level. That's all it means. Doesn't mean everyone else is bad. It just means if you want to get to that point, you're going to have to do more because they've earned it. It wasn't given to them. I believe in that in sales. I believe your score is your score. If I ran a school, people probably wouldn't be happy. I'd show everybody's grades. I don't care if you're kindergarten or a senior. Be like, this is your grades, Jimmy. What do you think? Not good? Tell mom to help you study, right? That's what I would do, because competition elevates. It makes the best out of us. We're not here to be sheep and just get by. We're here to elevate and grow and do big things, right? That's what it's about. Brings me to my second chapter, which is don't take the elevator. You got to take the stairs, right? You can never get perfection, but you can get progress. And every day that you do one thing more, if you try 1% harder today than you did yesterday, in a year, you're going to be 365% better than you were last year. It's all mindset. The problem we have in life, especially in the social media life that we have, or with the cell phone and all this stuff coming at us right in our face all day, that instant information, I want to know what this is, Google it, whatever, is we're not satisfied if we don't see results fast. Think about people losing weight. I mean, I try to lose weight. It doesn't happen. Up, down, whatever, right? I'm going to get some FITTEAM, by the way. I'm getting some of that. But I play for a tie. I work out 5-6 times a week, but I eat like crap. So as long as I stay the same, I'm winning because I'm playing for a tie. But that's the only thing I want to tie at in life. I should probably win in that, but I don't right now. However, progress is important. Someone who loses 60 pounds doesn't lose 60 pounds in a day. They lose a pound a day or 2 pounds a week or 3 pounds. It's progress. And the problem we have, especially in sales, especially in opportunities, is if we don't get instant results, we feel like a failure. We want to take that elevator and be like, bam, I'm the top one. I'm platinum. I'm Ruby. What's up? That's what we want. It's okay to want that, but that's not how this works. That's not how you get better. That's not how you're able to overcome more objections. You're able to handle the struggles and the ups and downs. You got to put the work in. You got to get progress every single day. And every day is not going to be great. And that's okay. How you overcome it is what matters, right? How you get through that is what matters. I like to tell people, don't set your expectations too high. Just don't. I don't set our goals. Our CFO gets really bothered. He's like, I need like a 5-year forecast. I'm like, dude, I'll give you like 180 days. Okay. I like to set goals 1 week, 1 month, 3 months, 6 months. That's it. I don't look outside of that. People are like, what are you going to do next year? I don't know. I don't know what we'll do next year. I mean, I know this year we'll break 700 million in revenue. They're like, what are you going to do next year? I don't know. In 3 months, we might do 100 million a month. I don't know. You gotta lower your expectations and goals. And that's not a bad thing. You can have big aspirations. Those are dream goals, but you can't live in that every day. You got to live in the moment. I got to interview a lot of cool people on my podcast, right? True Underdog podcast. So make sure everybody checks that out when you're done too. The True Underdog podcast, right? Top 3 podcasts. But Barry Sanders, NFL Hall of Fame. Yeah, but Barry Sanders, give him for Barry. I got to interview him. And one of the things he told me, he's like, Jayson, listen, the way I was able to succeed so much is I stayed in the moment. You know, when we went on the field in high school, there was like 8,000 people in the stands. I didn't envision myself playing in the NFL because I didn't want to be discouraged. I just envisioned starting on the high school team. And then as that went on, I said, I just want to go to college. I just want to be able to play or walk on to college. Then when he got there, it's 25,000 people at Oklahoma State that he had to play in front of. Right. And then he was like, all right, well, I'm not going to like think of pro. I'm going to think of just being the starter and doing what I got to do here. And then when he got drafted, and the whole point to this is then he got drafted. You got to stay in that moment. You can't let the lights be too big and you can't let them be too small. You got to be humble, but yet you got to be hungry. You can't accept average, but you can't get defeated and discouraged when it seems like it's too high to get up to that 100th floor. You only got to get to floor 2. And after you get to floor 2, you got to get to floor 3, then 4 and 5. That's how it works. Lower your expectations. If you're doing sales, try to get 1 a day. That doesn't work. 3 a day, 5. You got to set realistic goals because you need those small wins to build confidence. And confidence is what really elevates us to be successful. And in order to get confidence, you got to have small wins. In order to have small wins, you can't have those unrealistic goals that take time to get there because you'll be discouraged. Lower the bar. And that's my belief in taking the stairs. You got to fail. You got to learn. You got to struggle. You got to take everything with you. And you got to be able to learn from other people. And you got to be able to not think that you know it all. One thing I won't hire in our company is an existing salesperson. Do you know why? Because they're stuck in their own ways. I want them to learn the POWERHOME way. I want them to educate people. You guys know that you're not really selling something, you're educating people. It's 2021. We're not selling things, we're educating people and empowering them to make decisions. That's what we're doing. So some of the best sales folks in here are stay-at-home moms. Why? Because they're not selling anything. What are they doing? They're educating people in things that they believe in. They have a why that is bigger than them. And when you're passionate and you believe in something, things really start to take off, right? 3rd chapter in my book is called Don't Be Held Hostage. And that can relate to being on a personal level or on a business level. Now, fast forward, at the time, 2010, you know, me and my wife have 3 kids. She's pregnant with our son, right? Our 4th kid. And I didn't realize that my relationship with my parents wasn't the way it should be in my marriage, the whole circle, till I was like 30 years old. I'm 42. So it was like 12 years ago, I felt like, oh, now I'm an adult, right? Built 2 companies at that time, did all these cool things, but I still struggled because my parents made me feel like I was their child and I was in their circle first. Then my wife and kids were my circle after. And that's not how it works. And I know people today still that I'm friends with that live like that, that put their parents or siblings before their wife or their kids because they feel guilty into that. Now, I'm a father of a 23-year-old who has 2 kids. And sometimes I catch myself saying, Hannah, you need to do that. You need to do that. I'm your dad. I told you do that. You need to do it that way. She's like, Dad, I'm her mom. I'll do what I want. You're right. You're right. I forgot. You're right. You got to have mind yourself, right? Well, I had a time where my mom, like in 2010, sanitizer wasn't cool, right? A lot of people didn't have it. Well, my wife, Liz, she had it. Like she was ordering it. I don't know where she was getting it, some special country or something, because nobody had it. But she had sanitizer before it was cool. She had major OCD. You weren't allowed to come in unless you took your shoes off 400 feet from the door. And when you came in, you had to wash and scrub your hands with this sanitizer stuff. Nobody knew what it was. And I thought it was like, this is a little ridiculous, but if that's what you want to do, that's fine, right? Happy wife, happy life. I'm just going to sit the sidelines and back up a little bit. Well, my parents would come, and I explained to you, they were very blue collar, didn't have a lot. They would be intimidated, you know, especially as we started to grow and be successful and have nice things and live a better life. It made my parents, they're not bad people, but it made them intimidated. It made them feel less than. It was a different feeling for them. Now, we all want our kids to have more. We want them to be bigger and better than us. That's the natural love we have for our children. I don't think my parents didn't want that, but it was uncomfortable. And they'd walk into the house and have to take their shoes off and put all this stuff on before they touched any of our kids. Right? Back 2010, the mom would be like, what, are we dirty? She'd get pissed. She'd take it personally. I'm like, no, you're not dirty. We'll rub my wife the wrong way. And here I am playing in the middle. We all know what this is like. You got relationships with people where you're playing referee. You're being stuck. You're being held hostage to try to make everybody happy. It's exhausting. It's tiring. And it took for my mom to lose it with my wife one day when I say Nevada because it sounds cleaner than Vegas. I was in Nevada for an event. And I get a phone call and she's like, your mom just shoulder checked me, blah, 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 blah at the office. What? So we cut them off. Like my dad called, he's all fired up. And I'm like, look, till you respect our circle, me, my wife, my kids, that's my circle. You're not in my circle. My parents are like, BS. We're your grandparents. You're going to let us see us. I said, listen, blood doesn't give you a privilege for anything. A relationship is both ways. You bring it and I bring it. We share a relationship because I do good things and you do good things, not because we're blood related. You're not going to force me to have a relationship with you if I feel it's abusive for me or my wife or my kids. And that was the hardest thing I've ever done. My son was born. They didn't get to see it. They didn't get to be a part of that. It was so hard. I struggled with it. With therapy, with Christian therapy, kept doing I was like, this is hard. But it was the best thing I ever did. You know, you fast forward today, my son's 11. My parents are the best grandparents in the world. They weren't the best parents, but they're the best grandparents you can ask for. And they've got all the respect in the world because I drew that line and I wasn't held hostage. Right? And sometimes we're held hostage in relationships. We're held hostage in business. Maybe you got someone on your team or a manager, something that's holding you back. You know, I ran sales organizations where I had door knockers knocking on doors to sell home security. Let me tell you that. You get some weird people when you're hiring door knockers. I did that for a long time. But if I had some top salespeople, I was held hostage to my business. If a top salesperson quit on me, threatened to leave, wanted to get paid more because they were the top salesperson, whatever it was, even though they sold more, so they made more, they felt entitled. They would hold me hostage. I would be negotiating with terrorists because they didn't care about me or the business. They cared about themselves. And I would be stuck bowing down to whatever they needed. I would be compromising my beliefs in the company or personally to make sure that, okay, we still need that person's numbers. I know that person's a prima donna and I know that they're, we need their numbers. I didn't like that feeling. I had that in my first business. Had it a little bit in my second business. When I built POWERHOME Solar, I was not going to have that. I made it on purpose that we would never be held hostage to anything, that everybody in that company would be a cog on the wheel, on the tire, on the truck, on the road, and that nobody, whether you clean the bathrooms or you were the top salesperson or CFO, was bigger than anybody else. Everybody was equal and everybody brought their part and everybody was treated that way. And salespeople all get paid the same. You want to make more, you sell more. You're not entitled because you're better. You're better. You get incentive by selling more deals. And so I've had a handful of top sales reps. I'm all about integrity that will say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing, and I'll fire them. And back in the day in my businesses, I would struggle with that because I'd be like, I just fired my top sales rep. Are we going to make payroll? Now I fire a top sales rep, number 2 goes to number 1. That's it. Nothing changes. It's pretty simple, right? You can't be held hostage growing a business, growing your team, being a part of something by people that aren't on part of the movement with you. If they're not all in on you, you can't do it. You just can't do it. 4 is scared money don't make money. Everybody knows about that, right? Scared money don't make money. You got to bet on yourself. So many times I bet on myself. When home security business, I built up, I did well. I built the second one up, I did well. I opened up the solar company. I had no idea what I was doing. I just knew that I was tired of home security and I wanted to be part of something that would change the world. And I wanted to do it the right way and build an awesome brand. And so I went through that process to do that. And it cost me everything I ever made. Millions of dollars I put into the business the first 2 years. I didn't get a paycheck for 22 months when we opened. I had a house on the lake in North Carolina, $2 million house. I had to sell it. I remember I opened the company in January 2015. In December of 2015, we were at a Christmas vacation in Disney, which I probably shouldn't have gone on, but I paid for earlier in the year. I wish I'd had that money. I could have stuck it in the business. But I remember seeing the kids having a good time. Like, man, this is BS. I got to put this money in the business. What's going on, right? I was frustrated. I remember telling my wife, I was in tears. I'm like, I've never lost before because I've never quit. But every dollar we've ever made in home security is in the business, and we haven't got anything back. My business partner, Kevin, at the time was like, we need to close shop. Like he was quitting on it. And he was running call centers for us. We had call centers overseas. He was doing a lot of that back in the home security business, trying to get us something. But now that was losing money and needed money from the solar company. We were struggling. And he's like, we need to shut it down. And I came to a point that I was sitting there talking to my wife, like, what do I do? It's 34, 35 employees. We did 3 million in sales, but we lost $1 million. I had to pay that $1 million. That's all I had in the bank. So she told me to pray on it. I prayed on it. I woke up and I just had this, it reminded me, like, why am I letting this dictate everything? Like, this is before Wolf of Wall Street movie came out, but you know this line where he's like, they're going to have to carry me out. I had that mentality. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this until the wheels fall off or it's on fire because I don't want to live with regret. Because the worst failure in the world is regret. If you don't try something and you don't give it your all, you'll regret it for the rest of your life. But if you try something and you give it your all and you don't get the results you wanted, that's just learning. You're learning from that, right? So I said, I went in, I told her, we're going to have to sell our house on the lake. I got the stink eye from her and the kids. We're going to downsize to like 1/10 the home. Okay. We're going to let my oldest finish high school. I'm going to put all that money into the business. Stink eyes were still raised. They're like, what are you doing? You're not even getting a paycheck. You put it all in. Yeah, I'm betting on myself. And I did that. And I went in, I fired maybe half the people. I started cleaning house. I wasn't going to be held hostage. I was going to do things from the ground up again. I was going to hire people based on attitude, culture, personality, hunger, desire. I wanted people like that. I didn't care about their experience. I changed my mindset. That allowed me to grow to where 2016, we did about 14 million in sales, lost money, but I started getting a paycheck in November of 16, right? It's 22 months later. I'm like, yay, I'm getting a paycheck. It's all right. 2017, we did about 40 million in sales. 2018, 105, 2019, 185, 2020, 385. We're on pace this year for 750 million in sales. We have 2,400 employees, 2,400 employees, right? Had I quit on them and I didn't double down and bet on myself, they wouldn't have that job. We wouldn't have changed that many lives. You got to love what you do. And when my whole theory of scared money don't make money, if you're willing to bet everything every single day on yourself, then people will follow you and do that as well. But if you don't have the confidence or the backbone to put everything you've got on yourself, you can't expect other people to follow you. You can't be a leader. Real leaders bring their all every day. And their team sees that, respect that, and then they follow them into the fire. because they know that they're going to give everything. It's not going to be half, but it's going to be 110% effort, right? You can't fake work ethic. You can't fake desire and hunger. You can't fake that stuff. And team members that work for people, they see it, right? I see people all the time that I look up to, mentors that I learn from, people I aspire to be like in a good way. That's not jealousy. That's good envy. That's desire. That's like, I want to learn. I want to follow certain people into the fires, right? In order to do that, you got to have that confidence to show you're willing to bet everything on yourself. Brings me to the next chapter is failure leads to learning, right? Leads to wins. And when you fail, I talked about it a little bit ago, you learn from it. And when you set your goals and you don't hit your goals, but you still made an effort, you didn't lose. You learned. 2015, I was learning. I'd like to say I was losing. I lost money, but I was learning what to do, what not to do, how to get through it. How do I bypass this? How do I get the right people to hire? How do I efficiently scale my business? How do I be a better leader? There was times early in my career where I struggled to get up and do a sales meeting. I was like, and I was doing that all the time. And I remember like, man, I'm not very good at this. Well, I need progress, right? Not perfection. I got to get better every single time. And I got to get people to believe in what I believe in, to follow me through there. And the only way I can do that is failing. Because if you just win all the time, what did you learn? You didn't learn anything. It's easy. You actually get bored. But if you struggle a little bit, you fail a little bit, you learn. You gain knowledge, experience. You know how to deal with bigger problems later because you've already been dealing with problems. Now, I know a lot of people, especially single moms, that's tough as hell. Raising a kid, trying to work, doing all those things. But do you know why you get better every day? Because you're gaining progress, because you've been doing it, because you've been struggling through it, because it becomes the norm. That's what happens. When you make excuses and say, I can't do something because of this, you didn't learn anything. You are a failure because you quit. You're going to have regret. But if you're like, I'm not going to let that dictate it, I'm going to stay forward. I'm going to continue to grind. I'm going to do me. And yeah, I'm going to have bumps. It's a roller coaster. But that's okay. You're going to learn from those bumps. It makes you stronger and better. I can tell you that I'm a heck of a lot better parent at 40 than I was at 20. I sucked at 20. But I learned, and I failed, but I learned from my failures, which makes me a better parent now. My 23-year-old's like, this ain't fair. Like, you and mom are so much better with Christian in London. It's not fair. Life's not fair. That's what I tell her. Life's not fair. So get ready. It's not. Never will be. It's not. We've gotten better with experience and learning from our failures. It's a fact. And I think that's why people are better grandparents than parents, because they're more wise. They have more knowledge. They have more patience, right? It's a different kind of love. If you've got grandkids, it's like, oh, I love you so much. And I don't have to take care of you or deal with your crap. Here, go see your mom or dad. Like, fantastic. It's exciting because you don't have to be upset or disappointed. Sometimes we get disappointed in our kids. It's normal. You don't get disappointed in grandkids. Like, at least I haven't. Like, they act up. I'm like laughing, like, glad she gets that. Yeah, that's what happens. But failure leads to learning and winning. It's very important that you understand that you're not really failing if you're trying. Had I not continued to press through in 2016, I wouldn't be standing here today. I wouldn't have had this top podcast, a book, 2,400 employees. We're trying to take the company public. All these things we'd be doing if I just quit and went home, took my ball and went home. I think about that. Like, I had to go through those struggles. I had to fight through those and learn from them. I wouldn't be as good as a business leader as I am today if I didn't have a bunch of struggles to get better. I didn't go to college. I didn't finish high school. And it used to intimidate me when that happened. I used to feel insecure about that. I used to have people I hire that were way more educated than me, could speak a heck of a lot better than I could. And I used to be intimidated early in my career, like, I don't know, the guy's smarter than me. How am I boss? I'm like, it was tough. But then I had to realize, like, they work for me. They believe in me. I can't let them down. I have to be the leader they want me to be. I have to step up and learn from my failures and get better. I have to gain confidence. And I want to live with zero regrets. You never want to regret something. You always hear those people, oh, I wish I would have done this. I should have tried that. You don't want to be 60 or 70 years old and look back and go, oh, I should have done things differently. You know, I learned from David Meltzer, he's a coach of mine. He always says, we're talking about failure leads to winning and things like that. He says, listen, if you were going to die today, are you happy with what you did yesterday? And I thought about it and I'm like, no. He's like, then you're not doing what you need to continue to do more every day. Because if you're satisfied, you're lying to yourself. You're accepting the norm. But if you're not satisfied and you want to do more, then that drive will continue to drive you and you'll continue to be a leader and you'll continue to fail, which will only give you more experience. Which leads me to the next one, which is love your haters. So fast forward, I've got, 4 kids, had a partial relationship with my mother-in-law. Things were a little better, never really had a conversation at the time where it was like, let's talk about what happened years ago, 20 years ago. But if you don't ever forgive anybody, you're only hurting yourself. That's fact, right? If you hold on to something, you're wasting your good energy on bad things. And I don't ever want to give somebody that, especially someone I might not like very much. I don't want to give them any part of my good energy ever. Okay. Well, I told you, I closed down the home security company and I opened up the solar company and I stuck all my money in it. And in 2016, we sold the house and we put that money into it. Liz's mom, Tish, said, hey, I'd like to invest in your guys' business. And Liz came to me, he's like, hey, my mom wants to invest. I was like, hell no. I don't want her money. I'd rather die. I don't want her money. I'd rather get hit by a bus. Not happening. No way in hell. I've built my whole life on trying to fly her private and prove a point, use my black Amex. I got dinner. Mr. Trailer Park's got it. Don't worry. I built my whole life on that. I wasn't gonna give into that. I was like, hell no. She's like, well, she just wants to invest. Not a big deal. I'm like, we don't need her money. We just put over $1 million in the business. We're going to find a way to make this work. I don't want her money. So I go back to my business partner. I'm like, hey man, this is going to crack you up. Tish wants to invest in the business. He goes, that's a good idea. I said, good idea? What are you talking about? He's like, what better way to get your biggest hater on than make her money? I said, but I don't want to use her money. He's like, well, then we shouldn't. So we went to her, took $100 grand. I just put over almost 2 million back into the business. So took $100 grand. We created an account and never touched it, ever. I'm glad to say 2019, we made her a millionaire and bought her out. How about that? Now, what better way than to love your haters by giving back to them and making them fans? I love when people are like, man, you can't do that, Jayson. And then they're like, oh, you did such a great job. I'd like to join the team. I love that stuff. That's the sick part about me. People are like, I got to find the badness of you. I love to prove people wrong and I love haters. I want more of them. I want them to keep talking trash. I've got competitors that put billboards up that say there's enough Jaysons in the world, be a Matt. Like straight up. I'm like, I love it. My family's like, that's upsetting. I'm like, not me. It's flattering. Means they're watching. Because if you have haters paying attention to you, they're not paying attention to themselves and they're not growing. So my advice to you is tell them to get their popcorn, soda, and licorice and put on a show for them. And you continue to grow and they watch. Because there's so many haters out there and haters come in all different sizes. Family, friends, best friends, siblings, peers. They're out there and they find reasons to bring you down. And I believe there's 3 categories that we fall in all the time, different times of our life, career, everything. Category 1, that's where I'm at now, right? I've been in all 3, so I'm going to own that first. But category 1 is the believer, the doer, the passionate one, the confident one, the one who inspires and elevates others and wants to be inspired and elevate, that loves to see people successful and wants to be successful. That's category 1. Category 2 is the intimidated. Now think of Homer Simpson backing into the bushes. You know, you guys seen the meme where he's like, not me. We all know some of those in category 2. Could be a family member that they don't really hate on you, but they're intimidated about what you're doing. Therefore, they're not a big fan and they have nothing to say and they kind of back out. They feel like you've changed. You haven't changed. You're growing. They choose not to. They're intimidated, right? That doesn't make them haters. That makes them intimidated. I talked about my parents. They weren't haters. They were intimidated. That happens all the time. I've been there. I've been in spots. I talked about it where had people working for me, Ivy League degrees. I'm like, why the heck you working for me, dog? What's up? I'm confused. But then I have to realize like, oh, I don't need to be intimidated. I need to be confident. I need to elevate. I need to inspire, right? And category 3 is your haters. They're the ones that make excuses, point the finger, blame everyone else. Your success is their failure and their failure is your success. I've got family. My brother is like that. I love my brother. He's like that. Anything I do big, he hates himself for it. He blames himself. It's my fault that he didn't do anything. We had the same parents. We had the same 24 hours in a day. We had the same vision. Like you choose to do what you want to do. And what you do in life is yours to own. That's you did it. You can't blame other people on that. You can't make excuses and be like, that's why I wasn't successful. Because that's BS. That's the lame way out. And you're making excuses and you're in category 3. You have to own your stuff. You have to own it first. Then you have to work on it and get progress and get better. And listen, success does not mean you're rich, and it does not mean that you got some big title. Success is fulfillment. There are people that don't need to make a lot of money at all that just do philanthropy that are very successful because they're elevating and helping people. Whatever fills you up inside makes you successful. I know a lot of people that don't make much money at all that are much happier than a lot of people I know that make a ton of money. And that's a fact because they know what their why is in life and they're fulfilled. And it's sad because a lot of times the more money you make, the more depressed you get. Because what are you chasing? So you got to have a why that is bigger than that. And you got to love your haters. Like that's one of I love the fuel. Like her family was like trailer park guy. I'm like, it's Thanksgiving. I'll fly them private. They can come into Michigan, put them in. I'll bring some of the football players over. We'll gloat a little bit. It's all good, right? Bring a chef. Does that work? Those are the things I want to do. Probably not the healthiest thing to do, but it made me happy. Okay. And so you got to have your why. I have a lot of whys. That was one of them to prove people wrong. Because I've been told my whole life, there's no way. Even my own family, there's no way you can do it. Now, my family's proud of me, but, I wrote a book that was like for fun. The podcast was for fun. During COVID, our company, we still stayed open. We're an essential service offering battery and storage, but we were homebound. I lived in Michigan, and the Michigan office, Troy office, didn't have a corporate executive office, so I wasn't going back and forth to North Carolina. And we were on calls all day with like attorneys, state officials, health departments, you name it, everything to follow CDC guidelines, right? And I remember having an argument with the executives because it was the day after GM just took a pay cut. Their executives took a pay cut to stay open. And we have 5 executives. We have 6 now. We had 5 executives at the time. And we were on that call and we were deciding, it was late March, early April, if we were going to shut down. We're going to shut down. What are we going to do? And there was an argument that, hey, maybe we should furlough everybody. This is before the unemployment came out. That was all crazy. That went to everybody. And we had 800 employees when COVID started. 800. So we weren't going to get anything anyways. But I told the team, we're not going to close. We're going to stay open and we are going to go off of payroll. And there was an argument. And I said, if you don't like it, then you're in the wrong spot. If you can't go off of payroll for 4, 5, 6 months, you shouldn't be an executive at our company. And so I put the hammer down and said, that's what we're going to do. And then I went over to almost all our offices and gave them a speech of, look, fear is different with everybody. I have a daughter that has autoimmune deficiencies. I have high red blood cells. I was freaking out a little bit. Fear is with everybody. I can't dictate that. But what I can tell you is if you want to stay home, you can stay home. We'll pay you your vacation. We'll keep your benefits on and you'll be inactive. But if you want to work, if Lucy, who works in the call center, has to buy diapers and formula, she needs a place to go work, we're going to give Lucy a spot to work. If Mike, who installed solar, needed to make sure the power bill is paid, hopefully his solar bill is paid, we need to give him a place to work. And so we told them the executives are going to go off payroll. And we're going to do this to stay open for you guys. As long as customers want it, we're going to stay open. Well, that inspired sales directors that were like, I want to give some of my commission to stay open. We're like, what? And so people were giving back to other people to stay open. We had teams that would catch COVID that had to stay home. We'd pay them fully because we had the cash flow to do it because we weren't getting paid and salespeople were willing to give some of their bonuses back. It was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. It was like when you build culture And when you're together as a group, and we call it Power Home Strong and family, you can do this. There's nothing stronger than that. I heard the gentleman talking earlier about 9/11 and what was going on and how it brings people together. And we try to put that in our culture at Power Home. And I see it in your guys' culture here at FITTEAM. I see it. Everybody's excited for each other. Everybody's got each other's back. People want to learn from each other. There's nothing stronger than that. And to watch our sales folks do that was a game changer. When COVID, it never really ended, but now here we are, 2,400 employees. So you can see that everything just grew from there. People were so excited that they still had an opportunity. Other places that were closing, people still wanted to have a paycheck and work. We were hiring A's and B's, where maybe we had some C's. Now we can go in a bigger pond to get some A's and B's, right? But we were able to do that because we stayed the course. And it was important to stay together on that. But during that process, we had a lot of haters. A lot of other solar companies. How dare you stay open? That's so irresponsible. They're out of business right now. I think it's more irresponsible to not be able to provide for your employees. We gave a choice. And so that brings me back to the haters. The next chapter I have is called Team Out. And this is the segue into teaming out. I am great at like 3 things. And I'm good at like 10 things. Then I suck at like a billion things. That's my belief, right? So what I've learned being an entrepreneur early on is I used to think I had to do everything. I got to do the books. I'm the CFO. I'm the president. I was there. I did all of it. It's my call. I do all of it. Then as the companies got bigger, it was like, I don't even know. This is a true story. I don't even know what EBITDA means. 3 years ago, I didn't know what EBITDA meant. No, it was 4 years, 2017. I didn't know what EBITDA meant. Seriously, I didn't have to. I ran companies that did 14 million in sales or 18 million in sales. It was cash. I wasn't even GAAP. I think it's called GAAP compliant. I don't know. Whatever the CFOs know, they were all that good stuff. That wasn't me. But what I realized that if I got selfish and that if I didn't have enough humility, that I thought I was great at everything, that I would fail the people that believe in me most, the employees and my family. Because you don't have to be great at everything. In fact, that makes you bad. It means you're going to fail because there's no such thing. But I believe life and business is like a puzzle. And when you bring certain pieces together that fit in, you're able to do great things. And so I knew my roles. Like, look, I don't understand the books. We're going to hire a real CFO. And I don't understand how to build an HR and compliance department. We're going to hire a president that's got a lot of wisdom to help raise some private equity. I didn't even know what the heck private equity was. And here we are doing like 40 million in sales. And it was a cash flow nightmare because everything we sold today, we didn't make for 60 or 90 days, but we still had to pay commission. We still had to pay marketing. We still had to pay for, permitting and interconnection and structural letters. We're paying 80% of a customer, but not seeing anything till the install. So when you're selling back then 10 million a month, you're spending 8 million till you see a penny. Cash flow nightmare. So I was like, look, this is waters I'm not used to. I talked to my business partner, Kevin. I said, we got to bring somebody in smarter than us. We don't got to bring anybody in. Yeah, we do, dude. We do. Like, we're idiots. We don't know what we're doing. We're great at sales and vision, but dude, like, we don't even know what EBITDA means, dude. Like, come on, really? Yeah, you're right. So I brought on this guy, Steve Murphy, a little older, he's like 65, president. He brought him in as president, gave him an opportunity to earn some sweat equity. He came from the healthcare side, was part of mergers and acquisitions, lives here in Florida, flies up to North Carolina 3 weeks a month. Great guy, changed everything. Keeps us between the buoys. I learned so much from him. Yes, I'm the CEO. Yes, he works for me, but I learned from him. And that's okay. That's how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to learn from other people, whether they're up, down, left, or right in the hierarchy, it doesn't matter. We all learn from each other, and that's part of teaming out. I had enough humility and to be humble enough to say, hey, look, I'm going to get a CFO. I'm going to do this. And they're good at that. And I'm good at vision. I'm good at scaling. I'm good at inspiring. And that's it. Everything else, I'm great at those. Everything else I'm like, okay at. But I don't need to be great at everything. And neither do you. You need to be good at what you're good at and focus on that. And surround yourself with other people that complement your skill sets, that elevate you and bring you up. They don't bring you down. Because when you get brought down by people, whether you love them or you like them or their friends or their family or their peers, you're giving good energy for nothing. And you shouldn't have to do that. My last chapter is focus on the play-by-play to be the champ. Now, we talked about progress, right? Not perfection. You're going to have to dumb things down sometimes in life. I do it every day. You just got to dumb it down, meaning like, all right, simple, stupid, here we go. Right? I'm going to advertise. I'm going to give your guys this business an example. I'm going to advertise my FITTEAM stuff on my social media. And then I'm going to promote it a little bit. And I'm going to make sure that when I promote it, all these people, including friends and family, they're going to get upset. And they're going to be like, why are you doing this so much? And they're going to get annoyed. And you're going to feel a little weird. I've been there. I mean, I was like doing lives in 15 when it wasn't even cool. I was like, Jayson Waller here live from POWERHOME Solar. No, I didn't even know what I was doing. It was like 14 views. But I felt like an idiot sometimes, right? But I'm like, you know what? I got to build the brand. It's bigger than me. You got to build your brand. It's bigger than you. It's not about what your friends or family think. You want to bother them. You want to market yourself so much that they are annoyed and you're reaching other people you would have never hit, because that's how you grow it. You can't grow something if you're not putting yourself out there. So you can't let people around you be like, look, Mike, I'm kind of sick of seeing your stuff, man. Like, that's all you're doing. Well, then maybe you should buy some. Okay. You're sick of it, buy it. If not, block me. But I got things to do, right? I'm not waiting on you. Because it's funny, I would be boosting and posting all these crazy things as we were growing. And I remember some of the people that were peers in the alarm business with me, like, solar's never going to be anything. And they would be hating, and now they work for me, or they're dealers for me, right? I'm like, this is great. But you have to know that it's progress, that it's okay to rub people the wrong way and feel dumb sometimes because you're doing something, or uncomfortable, I like to use, right? It's uncomfortable to be out there. Like, we changed our brand to kind of be my face, which I hated. We were like, we're going to put billboards up. I'm like, really? Yeah, you got this. Now, my hair's not white right now, but it's like white hair and doing all this. I'm like, we had Morgan Freeman hired for our commercials. 2019, we had Morgan Freeman hired. We're going to spend $5 million a year. Our marketing company that we hired, Sussman Agency out of Detroit. Alan Sussman, who's a genius, goes, Jayson, can you explain to me how solar works? I'm like, yeah, like the sun beats down on the panels. It converts the energy. You use it first. Any extra, you fill up your battery. After that, you can use it at night. If not, it goes out to the grid. Your meter goes backwards. You make money. Bam. Right? That's what I said. He said, dude, we're not putting Morgan Freeman on TV. We're putting you on TV. I'm like, no, I don't want to be on TV. I'm good. It's like, no, we're going to put you on TV. I said, dude, I'm good. Like, I did some lives and stuff early on. Like, felt a little uncomfortable. Douched out a little bit. I felt like this isn't the right thing to do. People were looking at me weird. I don't know if I should do this. No, really, it'd be fine. I'm like, well, let's talk to the team. I don't want to be oh, look at that guy on the face of everything. That kind of rubs me the wrong way. So we bring the team in. We talk about how we're going to do it. And they brought up a Coca-Cola commercial that was playing a Cyndi Lauper song, True Colors. And they're like, we're going to get you an anthem. I'm like, we're getting True Colors? No. I'm like, oh, we're getting Cyndi Lauper? No. Oh, what are we doing? They're like, have you heard of the Detroit Youth Choir? I said, at the time, November 2019. No. They're on America's Got Talent. They were number 2, Detroit Youth Choir. They're all over TV. I said, oh, I think I heard of them. Yeah. He said, we want to hire them and put them on a stage at the Fox Theater. And we're going to get this song called Let the Sun Shine In. We're going to have you walking out there being the face of solar. And I'm like, I don't know. He's like, trust me. He said, if you had one sale left to stay open and provide for your family, who do you want in that house? I said, me. Then you got to be in 23 million houses. Okay. So we tried it. So the brand kind of changed, but it grew, because a brand can't just be a logo. It can if you're Coca-Cola, but really, like, think of Apple. They got Steve Jobs. Tesla, they got Elon Musk. The pillow guys got Mike, the crazy pillow guy, right? Jolly Green Giant, green beans. You got a face. This is what they sold me on. You got to have a face that people trust with the brand. You can't just promote FITTEAM. You've got to promote yourself so they trust you with the brand. That's how this works. And it's progress. You start by a little bit, and then a little bit more, and then a little bit more. And all of a sudden it elevates to where it's like, that's the norm. And you're just driving business to your stuff. But you got to start somewhere. And you can't feel uncomfortable, because as long as you're making progress every day, that 1% more, you'll make a difference in your life. Things will change for the better. Now I'm gonna close out by saying this. So I'm a salesperson first, operations person second. So I respect and love salespeople. Like that's my giddy up. You know, I love to do pitches. I love to overcome objections. I love for people to be confident. I would ask, well, two things. One, make sure you check out the podcast. Two, if you want to check out the book, I've got a special thing. You go to oypbook.com to reserve it, and I'll get you How to Build a $1 Billion Business workshop that I'm going to do in January with some big people that are going to be a part of that. But what I want to leave you with is this. Sometimes it's going to be gray outside and it's going to be hard. Sometimes you're going to feel uncomfortable. Sometimes the numbers aren't there. Sometimes you're going to beat yourself up. Sometimes you're going to hold yourself accountable and be bothered of the results. But that's all part of your growth. You have to stay the course. If you believe in something and you're confident about something, sky is the limit. Don't cap yourself. Don't limit yourself to what you can do because of what people say, because of the feeling uncomfortable because people are seeing you brand yourself, promote yourself. They are falling in category 2 and 3 for a reason, because they're not doing what you're doing and they're jealous in somehow, way, or fashion. Why are you doing that? If somebody was happy for you, they'd be like, Steve, I love your ads all the time. I buy some of it, but I love it. That's someone in category 1 that's going to elevate you. But someone who's complaining and nagging, get away from them. Cut it off. You're here for you and your family. You're not here for other people. You don't answer to other people. This is your map. This is your life. The book is called Own Your Power, because it's time for you to own your power and take it to the next level with FITTEAM and continue to grow your business